What's up, everybody? So today I mowed the yard, and I was really worried at first about my yard because I wasn't sure if my mower was gonna work. Because yesterday yesterday I was a little proactive in trying to get my mower, ready for the mowing season. Fucking hate mowing, man. I hate it, man. I hate it with a passion. But yesterday I got it out, changed the oil, and at first this is I think I screwed it up, man. But with my particular type of mower, it's just a little push mower. It's one of those pulsar things that you get at your local Menards big box store. They they tell you that you're supposed to empty the fuel tank before you stow it away for the winter, and before you use it each mowing season, you're supposed to change the oil. Well, I didn't empty the oil or the gas tank, but I did at least change the oil. And unfortunately for me, man, just I feel fucking stupid, man. Whenever I change the oil, I think I overfilled it. And I'm one of those old school types of guys that doesn't really care that much about the full line, because normally in most situations, whenever you're either dealing with small engines or vehicles, usually there's a little bit of slack there. If you fill it a little over, it's not really going to hurt anything. And sometimes even the old school way dictates that if you're dealing with an old engine, sometimes it's actually beneficial to overfill just a little bit for whatever fucking reasons, man. I don't, there's a lot of reasons to it. But this time when I changed the oil, I think I overfilled it way too much, and I tried to pull the crank or the string, wouldn't start. I tried to prime it about 6 or 9 times, and it just wouldn't fucking start, man. So I was like, oh my god, man, have I destroyed this thing? So by that time, I was beginning to entertain the notion that maybe I overfilled the oil, and I drained out. I don't know how much, man. I think the max amount of my mower is like 16 and a half ounces, and so I drained a little bit out. Uh, Put the cap back on or whatever, the plug. And before I tried to start it this time, I took the spark plug out and sprayed inside of the spark plug hole some of that PB Blaster engine. I don't know even what you call it, man. Engine booster, I guess. I don't fucking know. It's that shit that you spray in the hole, and it's supposed to make starting up engines go better, especially for the times where you've let them sit over winter and stuff. The first time of the season startup. So I sprayed some of that in there. The first time I didn't spray enough, I guess, because it didn't start. But the second time, whenever I did it again, it finally started up. And whenever it started up, there were a few billows of white smoke that were coming out of the muffler. That went on for about maybe 2.5 to 3 minutes. And then it began to kind of it was clear after that, but then there was this revving type of thing that was going on, like a surging type of thing. And I thought to myself, well, okay, clearly I've either flooded the gas stuff, the carburetor with gas because of my overzealous priming, or else I overfilled with oil, maybe both. So what I did was I let it just kind of run there for about maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, thinking that it would burn off some of that shit. And once it got to about minute 15 or 20, I shut it off, stowed it away last night, and I told myself, okay, I'll check the engine or the engine oil tomorrow, and you know try to get through a mowing session tomorrow and let bygones be bygones. Well, fast forward to today. In old transparency and honesty, I didn't even check the oil, man. I just went out there and started the damn thing up, and I mowed my yard, and everything was perfectly fine, man. So I don't know, but after I got done mowing my yard, um, I decided to go over to one of these local DNR strip. pit pond areas. It's kind of hard to explain, but where I live in my local area, there's some old uh, strip pits that have been filled up with water. You know, they're being used basically now as lakes, and the DNR is now in charge of it. And some of the local area is, you know, usually they're areas for things like deer hunting or mushroom hunting or fishing, whatever. And I decided to go over there after I got done mowing to test out my metal detector. So here I was, man. I was walking around these various areas, not knowing what the fuck I was doing with this damn thing. But it was nice to just kind of get outside, you know, to get away from the computer, to just get outside, breathe some fresh air. Because today, man, it was really nice outside. I think it was like maybe, I don't know, man, mid to upper 50s, maybe low 60s, something like that. Beautiful sky out. Everything was just fucking perfect, and the air was fresh and cool. And so I mean I didn't find the Ark of the Covenant or the Holy Grail or anything, but I found a couple little things here and there, nothing major. Mostly it's basically junk, and I didn't keep it or anything. I just kind of dug it out. But one thing I think I found was I think it was some sort of clasp that line workers use to deal with things related to their high voltage suspension wires, because in this area that I was uh, detecting on, uh, there's some poles around the area that I was using my metal detector on that's within proximity to some of those big huge poles that the line workers use to suspend their high voltage wires. And this thing that I dug up, I don't know what the hell it was, but it looked like it was some sort of thing that you would use to, I don't know, man, fasten wires like the stuff that they deal with. That's the only thing I can kind of come up with, because nothing else ever made any kind of sense. Because I mean, there were like I don't know, like some sort of like manufacturing codes or something that were on the thing that I dug up. None of it made heads or tails to me, because nothing on there said that, hey, you know, this thing is used for X, Y, and Z. I just kind of assumed that it had something to do with that, because where I dug it up was right by one of the poles that holds some of those big wires and stuff. But I found that. I found some, you know, aluminum foil refuse, you know, trash. You know, it wasn't. I didn't find anything. You know, I didn't find any kind of keepsakes or treasures or anything like that. But it was fun to kind of get out and dick around with this thing. And what's funny is that whenever I got home, I ate some dinner, I cooked a pizza or whatever, and then after I got done eating the pizza, I shit you not, man, by this time it was like maybe, I don't know, 8 o'clock maybe. What time is it now? Was it 8 o'clock? Yeah, I think it was around 8 o'clock. Um, I had been done with my dinner, and I decided to go ahead and take the detector out in my backyard just for shits and giggles, because I was like, you know, I'm kind of bored. You know, it's fucking Sunday night. What else are you gonna do? And I had a few drinks by then, so you know, I was feeling a little loose, I guess. So I'm walking around in my backyard with this fucking metal detector and my headset on, you know, and my on my head and stuff, waving this fucking thing around. And I shit you not, I found a fucking key. The first treasure that I found, man. It was a little key. It was just nothing major or weird or anything. It was just, I think it was probably someone's toolbox key or something, maybe. I don't know. It was like I think it was like a Coleman or a Cole key. I don't know, but I found it, and I was actually pretty proud of myself, because now I think I'm beginning to kind of understand how this thing works, man. Because the make and model. Let me just go ahead and see if I can get you the make and model of the type that I have here, because I looked up before I got on here. Um, because I you know, like I said, I'm new to this shit. I know nothing about this type of stuff, so I'm trying to do what I can to wrap my head around it. Uh, the thing that I got on Amazon, it's the Nokta, Nokta, the Nokta Legend Pro Pack. And this thing obviously comes with the metal detector itself, but it also comes with an AccuPoint pinpointer and, various little accessories and things like that. Like there's a couple little different belt buckles that you can use to put the pinpointer in this little like uh, scooper digger type thing that comes with it in another accessory belt buckle thing. And it comes with a hat and all of the USB cables that you need to charge the thing up and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's the Nokta Legend Pro Pack with AccuPoint pinpointer and starter accessory package. And I gotta tell you, man, for somebody who knows absolutely dick about metal detecting, I mean, you're talking to somebody or listening to somebody here that knows absolutely nothing about this shit. I got in it because I thought maybe one day I might find, the last burial place of Jimmy Hoffa or the Holy Grail. Obviously, I'm joking, but I thought to myself it'd be kind of cool to be able to come up with I don't know, man, a few buffalo nickels or something. And this thing, the total for this package here that I'm talking about was around $919 or so. So it's not exactly cheap, but in the realm of metal detectors, it's much more cheap than the really high end shit that you can kind of get into with this type of stuff. And bear in mind, man, whenever I found that key, that was the second time that I had used this thing, and I don't know the settings. I don't know what the best kind of stuff is that you can kind of set this little unit to that's on the handle. I know absolutely nothing about this shit, man. I just kind of whipped it up and went out there into my backyard and went to town on it. So I felt pretty proud of myself, man, for finding that stupid little key. First little teeny tiny trinket treasure that I've found so far. And I'm looking forward to using this thing in the future, man, because I'm beginning to kind of wrap my head now around how this thing's used, because it's got this little counter thing that's on the main, like the main head unit that's on the handle. And the more powerful the signal, I guess, the higher the number. And so whenever you see something like 50 at a 50 count or up, most of the time, a lot of the professionals, I think, they would say, well, okay, that signal strength doesn't dictate whether or not it's actually something that's worth digging up, because there's a lot of like iron and shit like that, that you don't want to mess with. But the thing about it that I'm beginning to understand now is that sometimes even those signals can be misinterpretations that the machine makes. And sometimes you want to go ahead and dig down into that crap, because whenever I saw my signal for that key, it didn't read like some sort of little treasure or gold rating or something, because this thing, I don't know how to explain this, because I don't know it well enough yet to really be able to explain it very well. But the head unit that's on the handle, there's a rating that's on the left hand side of the main like signal strength counter, and then there's like a rating on the right hand side. And from what little I understand, I think it goes that the thing that's either on the left or right is the depth counter, and then the other thing is indicative of whether or not it's some sort of like, precious metal type of reading. And if I remember right, I don't think that the reading that I was seeing for that little key that I found in my backyard, I don't think it was reading as some sort of like gold rating or something like that. It was just like a ferrous metal general descriptor type thing. And I went ahead and decided to go ahead and take a stab at it. And by God, I found that stupid little key. What I did was I waved my thing around it, got the signal strength up, tried to pinpoint it as well as I could with the main detector. And then once I jotted down, or in my mind, I remembered where the main signal was, I put the detector aside, and then I got my pinpointer out with my digger tool, and I started digging and using my pinpointer to kind of listen to the signals, fire off. And uh, one thing led to another, and I found that key. So I don't know, man. It's a minor win, I know, but it's just something that's kind of uh, worth going through your day for, I guess, because it was kind of like a highlight, because here I am, I know nothing about this shit, and Now I'm finding fucking keys in my backyard. So I don't know. But if you're new to metal detecting, or you've ever wanted to get into metal detecting, I highly encourage you to look at the Nokta Legend Pro Pack. And it comes with this AccuPoint pinpointer thing, and it's for about $919 or something like that. So far, I'm really happy with the purchase, man. It's really cool. Let's see here. What else is worth discussing? I don't know, man. It's just been kind of an interesting weekend. I guess there's not really a whole lot to talk about other than that, you know. I hung out with my neighbor yesterday. They were watching some of the NCAA stuff. Last night, I sat in their garage with the son, and him and I watched the Iowa versus Illinois game. I used to be really big into basketball, man, but now that I'm in my 40s, I just don't fucking care about it. But it's fun to kind of hang out with my neighbor and stuff because they're good people. And we shot the breeze, and don't get me wrong. I mean, sometimes watching those games and stuff is kind of fun. You kind of get into it a little bit every once in a while, and you see some good plays, you see some bad calls, whatever. But at the end of the day, man, I could care less who wins that fucking thing. I don't, I just don't care. It's not that big of a deal to me anymore, like it used to be. Back when I was in high school, or before then, I was all about basketball, man, but not anymore. Because I think now that I'm older and I've been exposed to so many different aspects of life, like with the stupid metal detector shit, it kind of makes me regret doing as much as I did with basketball. Because when I was in high school, man, basketball was my life. I was the stereotypical Indiana Hoosier type fucker that would be out there in his driveway with his stupid basketball goal, shooting 200 or 300 fucking free throws in sub-degree weather. I don't, and there's some good takeaways from that, because I guess during those experiences, I wound up having this type of, I don't know, man, this type of learning life lesson of being proactive, or developing my work ethic, or working on my focus on stuff. I don't know. You can kind of sit there and come up with whatever it is that you can kind of think of for someone who does that type of shit. But in retrospect, man, if I could go back in time knowing what I know now, I would be a completely different person. I wouldn't spend as much time with basketball, if any. In fact, I remember in my senior year, I wound up quitting. I quit basketball in my senior year after a tournament that we had mid-season. And there's a lot of reasons for it, man. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm completely justified for every single bit of it. But if I could go back in time knowing what I know now, I would have quit long before then. In fact, I probably wouldn't have even done basketball in general. I would have gotten some sort of like geeky shit, like computer programming stuff, or science based type of extracurricular stuff. I don't know what. It would definitely be much more academic though. And that's not to say that I regret my basketball time or experiences that I've put into basketball. I mean, I had a lot of good experiences out of basketball and stuff, but in retrospect, man, I kind of wish I would have pursued something that was a little more academic. Because now that I'm 40 some odd years old, I realize now that I'm much more of a geek than I am an athlete. And I'm completely okay with that, man. Because being a geek's funner, once you do that whole athleticism shit, you get to a point in your life when when you begin to get uh, tendonitis and maybe arthritis. I don't know. And you look back on it and you realize all these other fuckers, man, they're all sitting there doing all this stuff that you kind of admire, that you felt like at one point you could do, and then you're sitting there, not being able to do it anymore, and you're sitting there kind of thinking to yourself, why did I put in all that effort to do all that shit? I don't know. But more power to the people that can do that stuff, man. I just don't. I'm not as impressed by it anymore as I used to be. Back in the, I think, the late 90s, early 2000s, I was always really impressed by people like Vince Carter and um, back then I think MJ was still in motion or in activity. And I've seen all of those massive awesome athletes and shit, and they were wonderful to watch, to experience how athletic they are. And I think you get to a point anymore where you've seen that level of potential, and then you compare that to what we have today, and you don't really see that kind of shit being matched. Maybe I'm myopic in my view. Maybe I'm not exposed enough to the NBA or just sports in general like I used to be to have a good idea about where things stand anymore with that type of stuff. But I just don't miss it, man. I don't miss the sports. I don't miss any of that shit anymore, man. I'm more excited to think about how I'm gonna try to grow my tomato plants, or how I'm gonna like design my new websites, or program some sort of automated way to download MP3s. Stuff like that. That to me is fun. And the whole dunking from a fucking free throw line. Yeah, okay, that's great. It's amazing that people can do that out there. But okay, fine, whatever. I'm moving on. So, I don't know, man. And being able to diagnose issues related to your vehicles, like something that happened this past year, or these past couple months, I finally figured out why my 2006 Chevy Colorado would sometimes sporadically not start. It would crank and crank and crank, but not start. And I finally realized it was because of this fucking thing called pass lock. And I think it's because of the stupid ran down key that I have. So anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old or something. I don't know. I don't care. Just give me some good drinks and some decent shit to watch on TV, and I'm good, man. I just don't care anymore. I'm making enough money to where I can kind of save some back each month, and got plenty of money in my savings account. My house is paid off. My vehicles are paid off. I'm good, man. Give me my metal detector and and a good cup of coffee, and you'll never hear from this motherfucker ever again. Anything else to talk about? Well, of course, the shit with Iran is still going on. Oh man, I don't know what to say about all that crap. I don't regret my vote with Trump, and if I could vote for him again, I would. But just because I vote for the man and just because I support him doesn't mean he's above reproach. And I don't want to say that he's necessarily wrong for doing this stuff with Iran. I just feel like when it comes to Iran, whatever you want to say, if there is a reason that justifies his involvement with that country, I don't know what it is because he hasn't pitched it enough yet. There's a lot of stuff that's going around about how they've been footing terrorism and stuff related to that. I don't know. I believe that for the most part. I'm sure that they've had their hands involved with that shit, and I wouldn't be surprised if they had somehow been involved with the 9/11 stuff. But what do I know? I mean, I'm just going off of stuff that I've kind of piecemealed together from various news sources and stuff. So it's not like I would know any way heads or tails out of what's going on with that shit. But I know that I'm not crazy about us being involved in yet another foreign conflict. My God, man. Ever since I think I graduated back in 2002 from high school, and ever since then, man, my generation has been involved in some of the dumbest fucking shit that you can imagine. Stuff that they've not wanted anything to do with, but they've been asked or drafted into, forced into dealing with. 9/11, this stuff now with Iran, all of this crap that's been going on since 9/11, just all of it, man. It's like every freaking year there seems to be some sort of new catastrophe that's once in a lifetime for us. And I know that's me generalizing. I know it's not as simple as that or black and white as that, but it's just frustrating, man. You know, here we are now yet again in this foreign type of shit. And I think I've said it before and I'll say it again until I'm blue in the face. You know, the stuff where he's campaigned on making America great again, but now here we are. At first, we were prodding Canada, and then we began to kind of insinuate our annexation of Greenland. We were screwing around with Ukraine for a long time. We were screwing around, and at one point, we got involved with Gaza. We went down there to Venezuela to do what we did with that place. Now we're over in Iran. And now he's even talking about fucking around with Cuba. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, my God. You know, every day I get out there on Indeed.com to try to see what's going on with the job market. And it's just pathetic. I mean, the job opportunities that I see on just Indeed.com, it's a fucking joke, man. Unless you're some sort of managerial type of person or above, you got to sit there and ask yourself, well, okay, where's the entry or mid-level opportunities for seekers? And you get out there and you start looking at shit, and it's almost non-existent. And that's not a way to raise a country, man. I'm sorry, it's just not. And I feel really bad for the entry-level types of people that are just graduating from school, because they're fucked, man. And I hate saying that. I'm hoping that at some point things change somehow. But it just seems as if he's pushing for these AI data centers that aren't going to be used for making America great again. And if anything, it's going to be one of those kinds of situations where these big data centers are going to increase utility costs. They're going to increase property costs or property tax costs. And the data centers themselves are going to be almost completely automated with like a minimal staff, if that. And the majority of the stuff that they're going to be responsible for doing is going to be data hoarding, you know, parsing things to have more information about individuals. Excuse me. You know, using operations against the people that are supposed to be consuming their services. You know, NSA likes type shit, you know, where you're going to wind up having an account on a website like Facebook, and these big data centers are going to pilfer through your details and do all sorts of shit where they're spamming you or fucking whatever. And whenever they inevitably get breached, you're going to be dead to rights. You're not going to have a way to leverage anything against them. And if you're at all privileged to anything, it might be like $10 in a class action lawsuit. Like that last thing was with the Facebook thing. I can't remember what it was, but it was at one point a few years ago, there was a Facebook data breach. It resulted, I believe, in some sort of class action lawsuit where if you had an account between X and Y dates, you applied to that thing and you wound up with a check. And I remember getting mine, and it was only like about maybe $25 at most. I don't know where things are going, man, but it's not looking good as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, you know, here we are now. We're beginning to start another work week. Oh man, I don't know what to say anymore. It's getting to a point where it almost feels like the work weeks today are what work days used to be. It's like they go by so fast and time's going by so quickly. And at the end of each week, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, okay, what did I accomplish? And I don't know about everyone else, but I know that with me, man, if I make it through the work week without any kind of catastrophe, it's been a good week. So, anyway, I don't know why I made this video. I guess it was just to kind of give one last level of decompression before the work week starts up again, you know. So if you've got anything to add or contribute, feel free to let me know in the comments. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe. You know the drill. If you've ever used that Nokta Legend Pro thing, though, let me know. I would love to know if you have any tips or suggestions on how to better use the thing. That thing, it's got some presets One is like for a preset for a park setting. Another is for like a farm field setting, and then there's like a couple others. I've been using like the farm field setting because the area that I was in today, it reflected more like a farm or like a field, you know, because the landscape was kind of rough. You know, it had a lot of weeds and trees and things like that. And I kind of thought to myself, well, maybe that kind of reflects a farm field, so to speak. As to where with a park setting, I don't know, man. Maybe I should have used the park setting. I don't know. So I mean, if you've ever used this thing, let me know. I would love to know what the best setting might be for a guy like me who's just starting out. But I'm pretty fucking proud of that key that I found in my backyard. That's been the highlight of my week, I guess. So anyway, let me know what you think. I hope you guys are doing okay. And at some point, probably Tuesday, I'll try to have another RimWorld video being published. I don't know, man. Maybe something else between then and now. Who knows? But hang in there. Keep your head on the swivel, and I will see you whenever I see you again. Good night.